It is now the morning of May 24th here in Minnesota at the Dakota Bar and Grill in Bandana Square. And Victor Lewis, it's good to see you after the ball.
Well, it's great to be here with you after the ball. The ball was wonderful.
A lot has changed since 1973 and 74 for you, and since those days with Sky and this present adventure with Horizon, which is really a delight.
Yeah, you know what's funny that you mentioned it. If I could say that anything that at this point culminated, what I wanted out of music, etc. It all started, when I was here, with Sky, because it was like my first opportunity out of like my homeland. I grew up in Nebraska, etc., etc. You went to the University of Nebraska, I quit 6 months before I graduated, after Herbie Hancock came in with his sextet to play. I had a warm-up band to play, that played before them. They came in a day early. I hung out with them for 2 days and never went to another class after that. My mother was crushed, because I was so close to graduating. But, okay, I came to New York. I hooked up a gig at Pierre's. I don't know if you remember Pierre's, in the basement of the downtown Holiday Inn. And so it was a great bread and butter gig, like my first actual away from home, professional type thing. Even though I'd been working professionally before that in Nebraska, but I ran into a group of cats here who were into we didn't have any gigs, like Sky. So okay, the whole year I was here, Sky maybe we worked a total of 5 gigs, for the whole year. But we rehearsed every day, and like it was like a workshop. We all brought in our tunes. We worked on everybody's tunes. We did it every day, and it was great because the focus was growing and working on the music. A lot of times people don't get off their fannies unless there's a gig or something coming up. But the thing that was great about Sky was that every day was like a gig for us. We just get together and we practice every day and work on our stuff. And it was really like a great experience for me. And like to come back here now with this band is really like the completion of the cycle,
Horizon certainly represents all of that same sense of discipline, I suppose.
Yeah, it does, because in a way, it's a good point you mentioned. The kind of the overall spirit that this band has is essentially the same spirit that Sky had, in terms of musically, the attitude about music, and also people as persons as people, whatever, because the members of Sky were all nice cats. There were no like funny attitudes. Everyone was like humble and had a spirit for the music. It's the same with the Horizon band now. Everyone is they've been working on their art, on their craft for years, and have achieved a certain level, but not at the expense of being a gentleman or being, what I'm saying. They're all nice guys. They're all nice guys in this band. And I like that. Because I always believe that you didn't have to be an asshole in order to play good.
The idea of interaction and respect for each other is paramount.
Oh yeah, it is, because through this band we have a lot of fun. Everybody respects each other, on and off the bandstand, and everybody has such a grateful attitude about music, because we all know that we have something special here, and so when we get up on the bandstand, we really enjoy it. In New York. We've started being known as the happy band,
Victor Lewis, let's talk for a moment about your art, your craft, your profession. The instruments are all of those drums, the kit as they call it sometimes. Um, what what for you has been a turning point in the development of the art of percussion?
Okay, one turning point was I can't remember exactly when it was, but there was a point in my career that I realized that I was more into music than playing the drums. You know, okay, when that happened, it made my drumming better. Because it gave me a totally different focal point into how I dealt with playing. Well, okay, let me specify. It gave me a totally different focal point in how like I looked at my participation in the group effort. Okay, there are drummers and there are musicians. Okay, when I realized that I was more into music than playing the drums, in a way it freed me up, because then I wasn't like burdened by the norms, what you would call the norms of a drummer, the ego, to like, you know okay, that is also part of me too, because I love to play loud too, but I also love to play soft. But what governs whether I play loud or soft is the music, as opposed to like I'm a drummer, okay, I have a tom tom here, I have a bass drum here, this is all intellectual, I'm gonna try to like get off, it's not about that, I'm really into like whatever works, to like caress the emotion of the moment, to caress the texture of the moment, to caress to caress what's coming up next, you know. And so when I realized I was more into music than playing the drums, in a way, it really gave me a better vision on the bandstand than I had before.
Victor Lewis, you're also a composer.
Yeah, it's funny the way I started composing. Um, okay, I took classical piano lessons from when I was about 7 till about 11, and okay, I finally convinced my parents to let me stop taking classical piano lessons when I reached puberty. And I had to, okay, in Omaha, Nebraska, like on the holidays, like Memorial Day, Labor Day, 4th of July, they'd have like parades, and there were drum corps, drum corps, in the neighborhood that would be in the parades, and I go to the parade and I watch these cats, playing the drums, and I felt something, and so meanwhile, I'm at home, I had my duty was to, between me and my younger sister, I have other brothers and sisters, but at that time, me and my younger sister were the only ones left at home, and like we had different days that we were assigned to wash the dishes, and so like it would take me a long time to wash the dishes because I would spend about the first half hour like using the knives as drumsticks, and I'd hang out. Yeah, I would do that for a while, So finally, my folks said, seems like he has an interest in playing the drums, So all this happened around puberty, along with the fact that puberty hit me, and for some reason I felt that, it's all, if you excuse my expression, bullshit, but for some reason, I felt that I would, it wasn't masculine to be taking, classical piano lessons, while I'm in junior high here, ready to sow my oats, right? So they let me quit taking classical piano lessons, and I started taking, private drum lessons, and that experience. So, okay, along with like I have to mention my original teacher, Luigi Waits, who lives in Omaha, Nebraska, who is one of the unsung heroes, and he started me off. He was a friend of the family. He told me about Art Blake. He told me about Elvin Jones. He told me about humility. he he told me about that you can learn from anywhere, from anybody. In other words, he taught me not to stunt my growth by being a snob, in learning, you know. Okay, so all these things, happen, and when I was 13, I got my first set of drums for Christmas, and it took me all day to learn how to set them up because they came in the cases. It was secondhand set, you know. But okay, my experience from playing classical music on the piano, gave me a certain working knowledge of the piano. Okay, after I had stopped taking lessons, formally, occasionally I would sit down and try to play maybe some of the pieces I used to play. But as time went on, my chops faded and faded in terms of that. And one day, I found myself, I must have been like either 11th or 12th grade in high school. And I found myself just kind of, messing around. Okay, I was into I grew up listening to, like, the whole everything. Both my parents were musicians. So my household, we listened to everything, from Stravinsky to Duke Ellington, to Charlie Parker, to Debussy, all of this, and so I took all of this, the effect that it had on me, and like, one day I would sit down at the piano and try, just start screwing around, as they would say, and I came up with this tune. Okay, so that was like a revelation that wow, I can mess around here and come up with, my own kind of thing, out of my own emotion, out of whatever level, my prowess is at, at the piano at that time. Okay, and then when I was about, 19, after my first year in college, there was like a small contingent of aspiring to be jazz musicians, at the University of Nebraska. We all played in the University of Nebraska lab band, which is like, the big jazz band, and so, the guys, I had been wanting to get together with cats, to play some of the small, quintet, quartet stuff, that had really affected me. 1969, Miles Davis came to play in Omaha, Nebraska. I haven't been the same since, but what it did is that it gave me a new. Okay, I grew up, because of my parents. My parents were part of like the big band era, the Midwest territory bands. Okay, so I started playing gigs, with, for dances and stuff like that, playing Neil Hefti charts, Sammy Nestico, stuff like that. And so all of a sudden I became aware of like what the freedom and et cetera, that a small group had. Okay. So, I talked to the guys in the jazz band at university, and they were all kind of in that stuff too. So we would get together and just kind of jam and stuff. So I got excited about this, and we would schedule a rehearsal, but then it's like, okay, what are we gonna play? So what I would do is I would pull out one of the records, Miles or somebody like that, and try to transcribe it. Okay, at that time, I had no problem, transcribing the melody, no problems transcribing the groove or the bass line. But the thing that used to always get me was trying to figure out the voicings, that say maybe Herbie Hancock was doing. Okay, there's like your basic chord structure, that maybe you might find in a fake book or something. At that time, I wasn't hip to fake books. I didn't know about fake books back then. And so So I would sit down with the record and try to figure out, the chord progression, Okay, I would come close, pretty much of the time. But when Herbie or Horace Silver or whoever would when the band began to stretch, and they would start to substitute, play substitutions, et cetera, et cetera. I was completely lost. I was like, you know, completely lost. So it would completely frustrate me out, and I said, wow, well, I can't really transcribe this tune, totally, in order to like, show up at the rehearsal with charts, so we could try to deal. So I would give up. I would give up and take what I had and what I knew, what little bit of knowledge I had, and create my own tune out of what I had so far. And that was how I started writing. This is how I started composing. Was out of frustration trying to transcribe. Yeah.
What a story.
To make a long story short, right?
Oh, Victor Lewis, it's wonderful touching base with you in this month of May, the 24th day, the morning of the 24th here at the Dakota. And
4 days after my 40th birthday. Can you believe that?
well, may you have many, many more, good health and all that creativity, and your dynamics, the coloring, and the shadings that you deliver in rhythm, time, and musical tone from being
I like that.
is a pleasure for all of us.
Can you give me a Xerox copy of what you just said? but thank you. I really appreciate it, and it makes me feel good to hear that. This music isn't hard to play. There's a lot of duels involved. But even at this point, I would rather be doing this than anything else. There's nothing else in the world that I would rather be doing. As much as at 40 years old, I'm not naive anymore to how hard this business is. If anything, I'm I'm more aware of how much my passion is, how strong my passion is to play this music because of the obstacles, that have come and gone, and I would just like to say I'm very thankful to have the privilege to play music.
And Oasis seems to be Bobby Watson, Victor Lewis, and all your colleagues in Horizon.
Hmm. Yeah, it is true. It is truly an oasis in the desert of the business, because okay, I've played with a lot of different people. I've played with a lot of different people, but I don't think that in all my career I've played with a band that I enjoy as much as this. Um, Across the board, in terms of the cats in the band as people, you know, um, um, the musical telepathy we have, and also I'd like to say this, one of the most special things. I mean, there are a lot of things that are special about this band, but I think if I could choose one thing that's really special about this band, is the fact that this band has probably the most spontaneous sense of dynamics of any band I've ever played in. You know, this band, I call them, if you excuse the term I use, I call this band a bunch of crescendoing and diminuending, bunch of MFs.